I saved my daughter's family by paying off the $160,000 debt for her and gave them my villa to start from scratch. But 2 days later, they sold the villa and left the country, and my son-in-law sent a letter. "You stink, you old loser." They thought they had escaped from the consequences of their betrayal, but they didn't know that this villa hid a trap that would make them pay. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you were listening in the comments. The envelope felt wrong the moment I touched it. Tuesday evening, March 18th. I'd just pulled into my driveway after another long day at Henderson & Associates. My keys jingled as I fumbled with the mailbox lock, sorting through the usual stack: bills, advertisements, a magazine. But this one stood out. Plain white envelope, no return address, my name written in block letters across the front. The paper was heavier than normal mail. Expensive. I turned it over twice, looking for any identifying marks. Nothing, just my name staring back at me in that familiar blue ink. Inside my kitchen, I set down my briefcase and opened the envelope carefully. 3 words in capital letters filled the center of the page: "You stink, old loser." My stomach dropped. The handwriting hit me like ice water. Those aggressive strokes, the way the Y leaned too far right, the distinctive loop in the G. David. My son-in-law had written this. The letter fluttered to the counter as my hands began shaking. Why would David send something so cruel? We'd had our disagreements, sure, but this was beyond anything I could have imagined. The memory surfaced unbidden. 3 weeks ago at Emily's house. Sunday dinner that turned into a battlefield when David demanded I co-sign another loan. Something about consolidating debts, improving their credit score. I'd refused firmly but politely, explaining that I couldn't keep enabling their financial irresponsibility. "You're being selfish, Paul," David had sneered, jabbing his fork toward me. "You've got more money than you'll ever spend. We're family." "Family doesn't mean unlimited access to my accounts," I'd replied, keeping my voice steady despite the anger building in my chest. Emily had sat silent through the entire exchange, picking at her food while her husband berated me. When David stormed out, slamming the front door so hard the windows rattled, she'd mumbled something about him being under stress. No apology, no acknowledgement of how inappropriate his behavior was. Now this letter made it clear what he really thought of me. I grabbed my phone and dialed Emily's number. Straight to voicemail. Her cheerful recorded voice felt like mockery now. "Hi, you've reached Emily. Leave a message and I'll get back to you soon." I tried David's cell next. The automated message was worse. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." Panic crept up my throat. I called their landline. Same result. Number disconnected. My fingers moved automatically to Emily's workplace. Maybe she was pulling extra shifts again. The receptionist's voice was apologetic but firm. "Emily Peterson Johnson, she quit about 3 weeks ago." "No, sir, she didn't leave a forwarding number." 3 weeks ago, right after our argument. I called Sarah, Emily's best friend since college. She answered on the second ring, sounding distracted. "Mr. Peterson, is everything okay?" "I'm trying to reach Emily. Have you heard from her recently?" A pause. "Not for weeks. I've been wondering if she's avoiding me. We had plans to meet for coffee last Tuesday, but she never showed up. Never called to cancel either." The kitchen walls seemed to close in around me. I tried David's brother Mike next, hoping for any information. "Paul, thank goodness you called." Mike's relief was audible. "I've been trying to reach David for 2 weeks. He borrowed $500 from me last month and promised to pay it back by now. Both their phones are disconnected." After hanging up, I sat at my kitchen table staring at the cruel letter. The blue ink seemed to mock me, each word burning deeper into my consciousness. Where were they? Why had they cut off all contact after sending this vicious message? The clock showed 11:30 p.m. when I finally admitted sleep wouldn't come. I made coffee and pulled out photo albums, searching for clues and happier memories. Emily as a little girl, missing her front teeth, but grinning widely at her birthday party. Emily and David's wedding, where I'd walked her down the aisle because her mother couldn't be there. Had I been blind to signs, too trusting, too generous? At 2:17 a.m., I was still sitting at the kitchen table, the letter spread before me like evidence at a crime scene. Every time I read those 3 words, they cut deeper. This wasn't just cruel, it was calculated, designed to hurt. But why? What had I done to deserve such hatred from my own son-in-law? And why was Emily allowing it? The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 3 times, then 4. I watched the numbers on my phone change. 4:30, 4:45, 5 or so's. At 5:47 a.m., I finally gave up on sleep. The decision crystallized in my mind like morning frost on the windows. I knew exactly what I had to do. I was going to drive to their house in Lake County. If they wouldn't answer my calls, they'd have to face me in person. Whatever was happening, whatever had driven them to this level of cruelty, I deserved answers. I grabbed my car keys and headed for the door. The morning air was crisp against my face as I backed out of the driveway, the letter still burning in my memory like a brand. Dawn crept across the windshield as I navigated the winding roads toward Lake County. My coffee had grown cold in the cup holder, forgotten beside the crumpled letter that now seemed to burn through my jacket pocket. 45 minutes of driving gave me time to hope. Maybe their phones had died. Maybe they were sleeping in. Maybe there was a simple explanation for everything. The villa sat in Maple Grove Estates, where houses cost more than most people earned in 5 years, where I'd thought my daughter would be safe and happy. As I pulled into the familiar driveway, my stomach lurched. No cars, no lights. Newspapers scattered across the front steps like abandoned promises. I walked to the front door on unsteady legs. The spare key hiding spot behind the decorative planter was empty. Through the living room window, I could see furniture draped in white sheets, like ghosts of the life I'd helped them build. That's when I saw it. The red and white sign stabbed into the front lawn like a dagger. Sold. My knees buckled. I grabbed the porch railing to keep from falling, staring at that impossible word. This couldn't be right. I checked the address twice, 3 times. Same house, same driveway where Emily had taught herself to ride a bike during summer visits. Mr. Peterson, are you quite all right, dear? Mrs. Henderson appeared from the neighboring yard, her silver hair catching the morning light. She'd lived next door for 15 years, always waving when I visited, always asking about Emily's latest job or David's business ventures. I'm looking for Emily and David, I managed, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears. Her face creased with concern. Oh my, didn't they tell you? They moved out last weekend. Such a rush, poor dears. The moving trucks arrived Saturday morning. The world tilted sideways. Moved out? Emily was crying something fierce, Mrs. Henderson continued, wrapping her cardigan tighter against the morning chill. David seemed quite agitated, snapping at the movers. They said they were going to Europe for a fresh start. Such a lovely young couple, but they seemed troubled lately. My hands were shaking now. Did they mention me at all? She paused, clearly uncomfortable. Well, David did say something about family business being settled. I assumed. Her voice trailed off as she studied my confused expression. Settled, like I was a debt to be paid off and forgotten. Which direction did they go? Toward the airport, dear. David was quite rude when I offered to help carry boxes, said they were in a hurry to catch their flight. I thanked Mrs. Henderson and stumbled back to my car, fumbling for my phone. The number on the sold sign connected me to Pinnacle Real Estate. Peterson Property? Yes, that was a cash sale. Closed very quickly, listed Friday, sold Monday. Quite unusual, actually. What was the sale price? $340,000. The buyers were an investment company, paid full asking price. $340,000, the exact amount I'd gifted them for the down payment 3 years ago. They'd sold the house I'd helped them buy and vanished with every penny. My next call went to David's parents in Nashville. Margaret Johnson answered on the first ring, hope creeping into her voice when she heard my name. Paul, thank goodness. We've been trying to reach David for weeks. He borrowed $2,000 from us last month, said it was temporary while they sorted out some paperwork. They're gone, Margaret, sold the house and left for Europe. The silence stretched between us like a wound. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. He didn't even say goodbye, my own son. Both of us, played for fools by the children we'd trusted. I sat in my car outside the empty villa for another hour, watching the morning sun climb higher over the manicured lawns. All the pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. The quick sale. The cruel letter designed to hurt me so badly I wouldn't think clearly. The rushed timeline to prevent anyone from stopping them. This wasn't desperation, this was premeditation. The naive father who'd worried about their safety was gone. In his place sat someone much colder, much more calculating, someone who remembered every clause of every financial agreement he'd ever written, someone who understood that actions had consequences and debts always came due. I started the car with new purpose. The 45-minute drive home felt different now. I had work to do. The numbers kept running through my head during the drive home. $340,000. The exact amount I'd gifted them for the villa down payment 3 years ago. Back in my study, I pulled out the filing cabinet Emily used to joke was Dad's treasure chest. 4 drawers of meticulous financial records spanning decades. If they wanted to play games with numbers, I'd show them what real accounting looked like. I spread legal pads across my desk and pulled up my banking records on the computer. The hurt was still there, burning beneath my ribs, but something colder had taken control. I needed to know exactly what this betrayal had cost me. Linda's funeral appeared first in my records. 3 years ago, when Emily fell apart and couldn't function for months. The grief consumed her, made working impossible. David claimed he was supporting her through the crisis, while barely keeping his own job. That's when the pattern began. First crisis, Emily's rent and groceries for 3 months, $20,400. David's job loss came 6 months later. The economy, he'd explained, shrugging like unemployment was weather. I covered their mortgage and car payments for 2 months, $8,000. Then Emily's appendectomy. Their insurance had massive deductibles. We can't let her suffer over money, David had said, not mentioning he'd spent their emergency fund on some cryptocurrency investment. Medical bills, $12,000. My pen moved steadily across the legal pad, each entry a memory. David's business opportunity, some multi-level marketing scheme that required upfront investment. When it collapsed, I absorbed the loss to keep them from bankruptcy. $15,000. Credit card consolidation came next. Mountains of debt from just getting by. David's explanation, we never learned to budget properly. Another $18,000 to clear their slate. The pattern accelerated in years 4 through 6. David lost another job. Laid off, he claimed, though Emily later admitted he'd been frequently late. Mortgage crisis number 2. $22,000 Emily's car accident with an uninsured driver. $9,000 David's certification course that would guarantee better employment. $5,000. Holiday emergencies, family crises, always something. $8,000 scattered across desperate phone calls. By year 7, the amounts had grown shameless. David's third job loss led to extended unemployment. The job market is brutal for people our age, he'd said, though at 32, he was hardly over the hill. 6 months of support, $25,000. When they lost their apartment, temporary housing assistance, $14,000. Smaller emergencies became routine. $200 here for utilities, $800 there for car repairs, $1,500 for medical expenses, another $7,600 in incremental bleeding. My calculator displayed the running total, $160,000 over 8 years, average of $20,000 annually, more than many families earned in a year. But the villa represented something different entirely. 2 weeks ago, sitting at this same desk, I'd watched David's face when he demanded another loan co-signature. Emily had been crying, claiming they were really struggling this time, but something in David's eyes looked calculating rather than desperate. Take the villa instead, I'd said finally. Emily's face had lit up with genuine surprise. David's expression turned immediately to assessment, calculating square footage and market value. I should have recognized that look. I'll need proper legal documentation, I'd insisted. Margaret Wilson had drafted the conditional gift agreement with her usual precision, standard protective language, she'd called it. If the property was sold within 5 years, the recipients must return fair market value to the donor. Emily had signed without reading, trusting her father completely. David had scanned the document quickly and shrugged. Sure, whatever, we're not selling anyway, he'd said, already planning otherwise. Now, staring at the signed agreement on my desk, the full scope became clear. Villa market value, $340,000, 8 years of emergency assistance, $160,000, total sacrifice, $500,000, $500,000, more than 9 years of my pension income, money. Linda and I should have used for travel, for home improvements, for the security she'd wanted me to have after she was gone. For this betrayal, they'd paid me with 3 words of contempt. Margaret's careful legal language stared back at me from the gift agreement. The conditional clause was prominently displayed, impossible to miss. Emily and David's signatures looked different now. Not grateful family members, but con artists leaving evidence. The wall clock showed 5:30 p.m. Almost a full day since I'd found that letter. Tomorrow felt different already, charged with purpose I hadn't felt in years. I closed the documents carefully, each page a weapon I'd been too trusting to recognize. Tomorrow, I would make some calls. It was time they learned about consequences. I'd spent the night thinking, not sleeping. Thursday morning found me at my desk again, but everything felt different now. The gift agreement lay open beside a fresh legal pad, and for the first time in 3 days, I felt in control. I approached this like any complex financial project, systematically, methodically, with clear objectives and measurable outcomes. The emotional father was gone. The strategic businessman had taken over. 23 days remained on the legal deadline, time to get to work. At exactly 9 o'clock, I dialed Margaret Wilson's office. Her secretary put me through immediately. "Margaret, it's Paul Peterson. I need to discuss the gift agreement you drafted for Emily and David." A pause, then her familiar voice warmed with understanding. "Oh, Paul, I wondered when you'd call about this. They sold the villa, didn't they? Last weekend, fled to Europe with the proceeds." "The conditional clause is ironclad," Margaret said without hesitation. "Its sale triggers automatic repayment obligation. Full market value, $340,000. Due within 30 days of completion. I can freeze assets, garnish accounts, pursue collection through international legal channels if necessary." I felt the first spark of satisfaction in days. How enforceable is this internationally? Very. I have colleagues in Amsterdam, London, Paris. European courts respect properly executed American contracts, especially with fraud implications. Fraud? Margaret's voice sharpened with professional interest. Did they disclose their intention to sell when signing the agreement? David seemed eager to dismiss the conditional language. Too eager. Intent to defraud. That strengthens our position considerably. I could hear papers rustling. "I can file the demand notice today, Paul. Have my European colleagues begin enforcement procedures immediately." "Not yet," I said carefully. "I want to handle this my way first. But prepare everything. I may need rapid deployment." Margaret chuckled, a sound I remembered from her dealings with difficult opposing counsel. "Of course. You always were thorough, Paul. I'll have documents ready within the hour." My next call went to Thomas Anderson at First National. Tom had handled commercial accounts when I was still working, understood the intricacies of international banking. "Banking compliance, Paul, that's serious territory," he said after I explained the situation. "Legal matter involving a gift agreement violation. I need discreet monitoring of transaction patterns involving specific individuals." Tom was quiet for a moment. "I can flag large transactions, set up alerts for movements over 10,000. Any unusual activity triggers automatic notification. Professional courtesy between colleagues." "Exactly what I need. Send me their names and any account information you have. I'll establish the monitoring network by end of business today." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and began digital reconnaissance. Emily's Facebook profile appeared first, public posts from Amsterdam, showing expensive restaurants, luxury hotels, designer shopping sprees. David's LinkedIn bragged about their new European lifestyle, complete with geotagged locations at high-end establishments. They were documenting their own evidence. Every post, every photo, every location tag built the case against them. The expensive dinners, the luxury accommodations, the shopping sprees, all funded by money that legally belonged back to me. I screenshot everything methodically. Dates, locations, estimated costs. At their current spending rate, they'd burn through the villa proceeds within 6 months. Desperation makes people sloppy, and desperate people make mistakes. Setting up Google alerts for their names, I created a comprehensive monitoring system, social media updates, news mentions, Any digital footprint would trigger notifications. I'd know their movements before they planned them. The tactical advantages became clear as I mapped their situation. They were in unfamiliar territory, spending money rapidly, leaving digital trails everywhere. Meanwhile, I sat in my familiar study with 30 years of professional contacts, legal standing, and patient planning. Different tactics would work on different targets. Emily responded to guilt. She'd always been sensitive about disappointing family. David operated on fear and self-interest. I'd start with Emily, the weak link in their partnership. She'd crack first under pressure. Everything was falling into place with mathematical precision. Legal foundation, solid. Financial monitoring, active. Intelligence gathering, comprehensive. Timeline, 23 days and counting. I marked my calendar with key pressure points, escalation dates, final deadline. They'd taught me about betrayal and thought they'd escaped consequences. Tomorrow, I would begin teaching them about accountability. Everything was in place. Tomorrow, I would remind them about family obligations. I'd slept better than I had in days. Friday morning found me at my desk with legal documents arranged in precise order, contact numbers highlighted, timeline marked on my calendar. 22 days remaining. Time to activate the consequences. At exactly 9 o'clock, I dialed Margaret Wilson's office. Margaret, file the demand notice today. I want everything by the book. Consider it done, Paul. Her voice carried the crisp efficiency I remembered from her toughest cases. They'll receive official notice by certified international delivery Monday morning. Full market value, $340,000. Due within 22 days, or we proceed with asset seizure and collection. My next call went to Thomas Anderson. Tom, it's time to implement the monitoring we discussed. Based on your legal filing, I can flag suspicious transactions, he said, understanding immediately. Any international transfers over 5,000 will trigger alerts. I'm already seeing significant activity in Amsterdam. Hotel charges, luxury shopping. They've burned through over 40,000 in the last week alone. The numbers satisfied me completely. Can you place discretionary holds pending legal resolution? Already initiated, let them wonder why their cards are declining. By 10:30, Margaret's legal team had prepared the formal demand notice for international delivery. The language was uncompromising. Failure to comply within 22 days would result in asset seizure through European legal partners. Every requirement meticulously followed. Every protocol properly executed. I spent the afternoon monitoring their social media activities in real time. Emily's Instagram stories showed dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant, easily $300 for 2 people. David's LinkedIn bragged about their new European lifestyle, with location tags from Amsterdam's most expensive shopping district. They were documenting their own evidence. Every post, every geotagged location, every expensive meal built the case against them. At their current burn rate of 2,000 to 3,000 daily, they'd consume half the money within 3 months. Desperation would make them more pliable. At 1:47 p.m., my phone rang. Emily's international number appeared on the caller ID. I let it ring through to voicemail. Her message arrived moments later, voice shaky despite forced casualness. Dad, hey, it's me. We're having some weird banking issues here. Cards aren't working properly. Could you call me back? Nothing urgent, just weird technical stuff. The panic beneath her casual tone was unmistakable. The first crack in their confidence had appeared exactly as predicted. Emily's character hadn't changed. When pressured, she reached for family support, expecting unconditional help as always. I made no move to return her call. Strategic silence held more power than immediate confrontation. Let them marinate in uncertainty over the weekend. Monday's legal delivery would provide all the clarity they needed. This was exactly how successful negotiations worked. Establish leverage, control information flow, maintain timing advantage. They'd taught me about betrayal while thinking they'd escaped consequences. Now they were learning about accountability. The trap was springing perfectly. Professional patience trumped emotional reaction every time. I poured a glass of wine and settled in to wait. Monday would bring them clarity. I'd spent a peaceful weekend knowing their cards were declining across Amsterdam. Monday morning found me at breakfast when my phone rang. Emily's international number appearing precisely on schedule. Emily never was an early riser. This call meant desperation. I allowed 3 rings before answering. "Hello, Emily." "Hey, Dad, how are you?" Her voice carried forced enthusiasm that fooled no one. "We're having the most amazing time here in Amsterdam. You'd absolutely love the museums, and the architecture is incredible." She was stalling, working up courage. I said nothing, letting silence pressure her into revealing the real reason for her call. "Actually," her voice cracked slightly, "we're having some really weird banking issues. Our cards just stopped working Friday, and the bank says there's some kind of hold. We're stuck in this expensive hotel and can't pay for anything." "Banking issues can be complicated, Emily," I replied calmly. "It must be some European regulation thing," she rushed on, deflecting responsibility as always. "Could you maybe wire us some money, just temporarily, maybe 5,000, just until we figure this out?" "That's quite a lot of money, Emily." I let the pause stretch. "The banking hold isn't a mistake." "What? Dad, what are you talking about?" "It's related to the villa you sold, the conditional gift agreement you signed. Remember that?" Confusion bled through her panic. What does that have to do with anything?" "When you sold the villa, you triggered the repayment clause. $340,000, Emily. You have 21 days to return it." The silence lasted 10 seconds. Then, "Dad, this is crazy. We can't possibly... This is all David's idea. I never wanted to sell. He convinced me we needed a fresh start in Europe. You know how persuasive he can be." "You both signed the agreement, Emily. We don't have that kind of money anymore." Her voice rose toward hysteria. "We've been living here, and expenses are so high, and we thought... 50,000 in 10 days, according to your social media posts." "You've been watching our posts?" The shock in her voice was genuine. "Let me put David on," she said desperately. "He can explain this better." Background noise, angry voices, then David's aggressive tone. "Paul, this is ridiculous. You can't just freeze our accounts because..." "I can, and I did, David. Look, old man, we'll pay you back eventually, but this timeline is impossible. You're being unreasonable and vindictive." "I'm being precise and legal, David. 21 days or asset seizure begins. My European legal partners are standing by." "You're actually serious about this?" His bravado was cracking, deadly serious. "What if we give you half now, half later?" "Full amount, 21 days. "This is insane. We're family." "Family doesn't send anonymous hate mail." Emily grabbed the phone back, her voice tearful. "Daddy, please, I'm scared. I know I made mistakes, but I need your help. Mom would want you to help me." "Your mother would be ashamed of this betrayal." "What are we supposed to do? We have nothing left. We'll be homeless, stranded in a foreign country." "You should have considered that before selling." The line went dead. 21 days had become their countdown to consequences. Their panic told me everything I needed to know. Back at my computer, I opened Emily's Instagram feed. Her latest story, posted 2 hours ago, showed the ornate lobby of Hotel des Andes in The Hague with crying emojis and "worst day ever" text overlay. The Hague. How fitting, home of international law. David's LinkedIn displayed this morning's post. Dealing with family drama, but staying strong. Facebook photos revealed a premium BMW rental and expensive restaurant meals. Even in crisis, still burning money like it was infinite, time to tighten the screws. At 3 p.m., Memphis time, 9 p.m. in Amsterdam, I called Vanderberg and Associates. Margaret had provided their contact for exactly this scenario. "This is Paul Peterson, referred by Margaret Wilson regarding international debt collection." "Ah, Mr. Peterson," came the crisp Dutch accent. "We've been expecting your call. Your conditional gift agreement provides an excellent foundation for European account preservation order proceedings. How quickly can you move?" "EAPO filing tomorrow morning. We can freeze all EU bank accounts within 24 hours. Your documentation transfer this afternoon gives us everything needed." "Perfect. What's the enforcement timeline?" "Wednesday morning, all European financial assets will be inaccessible. Our investigators handle 200 international collection cases annually. We know precisely how to apply maximum legal pressure." My next call went to Thomas Anderson. "Tom, we need to escalate surveillance. I want real-time intelligence on every transaction attempt." "They've tried 3 different cards today. All declined," Thomas reported immediately. ATM denials logged at 4 Amsterdam locations. They're attempting smaller transactions now, 50 euros, 100 euros. They're counting change. How long before complete depletion? At their current burn rate, hotel bills alone are 400 euros nightly. BMW rental, restaurants, miscellaneous expenses, they're looking at 600 euros daily minimum. 30 days maximum before bankruptcy. The Dutch legal team confirmed receipt of all documents by secure transmission. Gift agreement, sale records, demand notices, communication logs, everything Margaret had meticulously prepared. Textbook conditional gift enforcement, the Amsterdam lawyer assessed. We'll coordinate with your Memphis counsel and banking contacts. By Wednesday, they'll understand that European banking offers no sanctuary from American legal obligations. I spent the evening cross-referencing their social media posts with hotel booking sites and rental car agencies. Emily's geotagged posts confirmed Hotel des Andes, walking distance to the Dutch legal district where tomorrow's EAPO would be filed. David's BMW 3 Series rental carried premium insurance, another 120 euros daily. Their location was no accident. The Hague meant they were 30 minutes from Amsterdam's financial district, close to the very banks that would freeze their accounts. By 6 p.m., coordination was complete. Margaret in Memphis, Vanderburg in Amsterdam, Thomas monitoring international banking networks. Tuesday morning would bring EOPO filing. Wednesday would deliver account freezing. Thursday would create hotel payment crisis, as their cards definitively failed. Strategic patience trumped emotional satisfaction. Let them sleep one more night in uncertainty, wondering when the next shoe would drop. By Tuesday morning Amsterdam time, their comfortable assumptions about European banking would shatter completely. The Dutch legal system worked exactly as promised. My phone buzzed with angry messages from a European number I didn't recognize. The preview showed all caps. "You're destroying your own family." Right on schedule. David's rage had erupted into a text message barrage. "This is insane, Paul. You've gone too far." Then escalation. "We're your family. How can you do this to Emily?" Followed by threats. "I have lawyers too. We'll fight this." His final message carried pure desperation. "You'll regret this when everyone knows what kind of father you really are." I read each message with professional detachment. Textbook, desperation. Playbook, every move I'd anticipated. Time to let Margaret handle this. At 9 o'clock, my phone rang. Amsterdam area code. "This is attorney Willem Hendricks representing David Johnson. We're challenging the conditional gift agreement on grounds of unconscionable terms and undue influence." "Please direct all communications to my attorney, Margaret Wilson," I replied calmly, providing her contact information. Margaret's response was immediate when I called her. "Expected this? I drafted that agreement to withstand challenges. Every clause triple-checked, all procedures documented." "How solid are we?" "Ironclad." Emily signed after a full legal review period. We offered independent counsel. She declined. The signing ceremony was recorded for their protection. Their attorney will discover we covered every angle. By 10:30, Margaret had coordinated with Vanderburg and Associates. The Dutch legal opinion was unequivocal. Challenge has no merit under EU or Netherlands law. Motion to dismiss filed within 24 hours. Meanwhile, David launched his social media offensive. Facebook post. "When family turns against family, a cautionary tale." Instagram story. "Stranded abroad by vindictive relative." LinkedIn update about family business ethics. A Twitter thread explaining how conditional gifts become financial weapons. Margaret's social media specialist preserved screenshots for legal proceedings. The strategy was elegant. Let them damage their own credibility. Comments were already asking uncomfortable questions. "Wait, you sold his house? Why didn't you pay him back?" David's desperation peaked with a direct call. "You have no idea who you're messing with," he snarled. "I know people. This won't end well for you." I recorded every word, per Margaret's advice. Empty threats from a powerless position, I noted to myself. Emily's voice came through, tearful but threatening. "We'll tell everyone how cruel you are. Pay our hotel bill or we'll be homeless." By 11 o'clock, Margaret filed additional motions. Sanctions for harassment, she explained. $10,000 penalty for each violation. Their threatening behavior violates settlement terms. Deadline reduced to 15 days due to misconduct. The Dutch Bar Association received a professional conduct complaint about Hendricks and Partners' clients engaging in prohibited harassment. Every countermove they had attempted had only strengthened my position. By evening, their legal challenge was dismissed and additional sanctions approved. They had 15 days left. Midnight in The Hague. My phone lit up with a video call notification, Emily's face appearing on the screen. This wasn't casual. Her last card to play, I answered, keeping my expression neutral. The video connected to reveal Emily in a cramped, shabby hotel room. Tears streamed down her face, real ones this time, not the performed emotion I'd grown accustomed to. Behind her, David paced like a caged animal in the dim lighting. "Daddy, please just listen to me," she began, her voice broken with exhaustion. "I'm listening, Emily. We're living like refugees in this horrible place. The room smells, the heat doesn't work. We're eating convenience store sandwiches and walking everywhere because we can't afford taxis." Her story poured out in desperate chunks. "I think I'm getting sick from the stress. Haven't slept in days, can't keep food down. What if something serious happens to me here? We don't know anyone, don't speak the language." Classic victim positioning. I remained silent, letting her continue. "Remember when I was little and scared? You always protected me from nightmares. You said you'd never let anything bad happen to me." Her voice cracked with childhood regression. "Mom would be heartbroken seeing us like this. She always said, family comes first. What would she think of what you're doing to her daughter?" The mother card. The first real emotional hit, but I'd prepared for this too. "Just enough to get home, please," Emily continued, reducing her demands. "Not the full amount, just travel money. We'll pay back every penny somehow. Just a few more months, please." Her desperation escalated. "I'll leave David if that's what you want. I know you never liked him. I'll come home alone, start over." She was throwing David under the bus now, sacrificing her marriage for financial salvation. "I don't know what I'll do if you abandon me," she whispered, moving into darker territory. "I can't handle this pressure much longer. This is destroying me, Daddy." David's voice erupted from behind. "Tell him we'll be homeless." "I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I need my daddy to save me." Emily's breakdown reached its peak. "Don't you love me anymore? I'll do anything, please." I took a deep breath, accessing the steel core I'd built over these weeks. "Emily, I do love you, but love doesn't mean enabling destruction. You made adult choices with adult consequences. This situation is of your own making. Mom would want you to help me. Your mother would be disappointed in your choices. She taught you responsibility and honesty. Linda never tolerated manipulation or lies. She would support teaching you this lesson. Real love means letting you face consequences. This is your chance to become independent. 15 days to make this right. I'll help when you've learned responsibility." David grabbed the phone. "Enough of this emotional garbage. Your daughter is suffering because of your pride. When she gets hurt, it's on you." "My conscience is clear, David. I love you, Emily, but the terms don't change." Emily's face crumpled as reality hit. David threw something in the background. 15 days. I ended the call. The silence after felt different. Final. 6 months later, my Sunday afternoon routine included reviewing bank statements that told a different story. $5,000 monthly payments, arriving like clockwork since March. No missed deadlines, no excuses, no drama. Just consistent responsibility from two people learning what work actually meant. The phone rang at 2 p.m., Emily's number, but her tone carried none of the old manipulation. "Dad, could we talk? David and I have something important to say. Could we come over this afternoon? No desperation, no crisis, just a respectful request. 4 o'clock. I'll make coffee." They arrived promptly, and the visual changes struck me immediately. Emily wore work clothes, practical pants, comfortable shoes, the attire of someone who spent days on her feet. David's hands showed calluses from construction work, his shoulders broader from physical labor. "Dad, I need to say things I should have said long ago." Emily's voice was steady, mature. "I was spoiled, entitled, and ungrateful. You gave me everything, and I threw it away. Working taught me what money actually means, the hours, the effort, the sacrifice behind every dollar. David stepped forward, his former arrogance replaced by genuine humility. Mr. Peterson, I owe you more than money. I was arrogant, disrespectful, and wrong about everything. That anonymous letter was cruel and cowardly. You handled this like a man of principle while I acted like a child. We want to earn your trust back, Emily continued. Whatever rules you think are fair, whatever timeline works for you, we want to be family you can be proud of. I studied their faces. No performance, no angles, just two people who had learned hard lessons and emerged different. Linda always believed in second chances after growth occurred. You've shown consistency for 6 months, I said finally. The lesson has been taught and received. Now it's time for mercy. I paused, watching their careful hope. I'm reducing your balance to $200,000, 3 years of payments instead of 4. Emily's tears came freely. Thank you for not giving up on me. David's voice cracked. I'll spend years earning your respect. Love means teaching consequences, then showing grace when the lesson sticks. We established new traditions, weekly family calls, earned holiday invitations, honest communication about their real lives. They'd continue payments, but our relationship would rebuild through consistent actions, not financial transactions. 1 year later, Thanksgiving 2026 brought them to my dining room, alongside Aunt Susan and extended family. Emily had been promoted to supervisor at her retail job. David was foreman at his construction company. They'd paid $140,000 with $60,000 remaining. During dinner preparation, David approached me privately. Thank you for making me a better man. Thank you for becoming one. Justice had taught the lesson. Mercy healed the relationship. Love sometimes requires letting people face consequences, then celebrating when they choose to grow. Friday morning brought the white flag at last. My email showed a message with subject line, formal apology and settlement request, David Johnson. Timestamp 2:30 a.m. The Hague time. The surrender had taken all night to write. Mr. Peterson, it began, I formally apologize for my previous behavior. You were right to include the conditional clause. We have learned expensive lessons about consequences. The email continued with devastating honesty. Hotel management is threatening police involvement. We have approximately 200 remaining. Cannot afford return flights. Emily requires medication we cannot purchase. Then came the formal plea. Respectfully request settlement negotiations. Understanding 14 days remain. Willing to accept reasonable payment terms. Hope to resolve this matter with minimal legal escalation. I called him immediately. I received your email, I said when David answered. His voice carried complete defeat. Thank you for calling, Mr. Peterson. Let's discuss terms. I was wrong about everything, David said without hesitation. This situation is entirely our fault. You handled this professionally and fairly. I should have appreciated your generosity. The power dynamic had reversed completely. Full amount plus sanctions, $360,000, I stated. The sanctions increased the total. His shock was genuine. Consequences for harassment and legal challenges. Understood. What payment options exist? We discussed their BMW rental, worth approximately $45,000, roughly $48,000 at current exchange rates. David could liquidate it immediately. Send all sales paperwork. Direct wire transfer within 48 hours. Margaret Wilson will confirm receipt. What about the remaining balance? $312,000 after the car sale. I paused, considering my strategic position. Transfer $2,000 immediately for hotel accommodation. Additional $500 for Emily's medication. You would do that? David's gratitude was genuine. I'm showing mercy from a position of strength, David. All future contact goes through Margaret Wilson. No public discussion of settlement. Professional behavior required. Violations trigger additional $10,000 penalties. Completely understood. Weekly status reports, financial transparency, whatever you require. The conversation lasted 2 hours. By the end, David's transformation was complete, from arrogant threat-maker to respectful supplicant. Emily remained silent in the background, her fight completely gone. We'll contact BMW dealer immediately, David promised. Sales documentation within 6 hours. Good. The immediate relief transfer will happen today. Mr. Peterson, thank you for the lesson and the mercy. I hung up, satisfied. Justice delivered professionally, with grace and victory. The first wire transfer was scheduled for Sunday morning. Real money, real consequences, real change. 1 week later, I was reviewing bank statements when my phone rang. The BMW payment had cleared, $48,000 exactly as promised. But this call was from Susan Martinez, Linda's sister. Paul, I'm worried about Emily. She called me crying, says you're being unreasonable about some legal misunderstanding over the house. They were playing the family card. Susan, what exactly did Emily tell you? Something about struggling financially and needing family support. Linda would want you to help her daughter. I took a breath. Did she mention selling the villa I gave her without telling me? Or the anonymous hate letter calling me an old loser before they fled to Europe with $340,000? Silence. Then, I had no idea. $500,000 in support over 8 years, Susan. Real help means letting people face consequences. Emily learned to manipulate because we always rescued her. You're right, I'm sorry for calling. No apology needed. You were being a caring aunt. An hour later, Emily called directly. Dad, we've changed. David's looking for work. I started job applications. We'll be different, more responsible. Just need more time to get on our feet. I'd already checked through my contacts. 12 fast food applications isn't a career commitment, Emily. I never realized how hard job hunting is. I don't have experience in anything practical. David's degree doesn't guarantee employment when you're competing with younger, qualified people. We're living so simply now. Tiny apartment, cooking at home, no luxuries. David sold his watch, I sold jewelry. That might cover 1 month's rent. What about the $307,000 still owed? Her voice cracked. Monthly payments over 5 years? We'll pay interest, make it worth your while. Terms remain unchanged, 7 days. Wednesday brought a wire transfer notification. $5,000 from Emily Johnson. Real money from real work. David's construction wages plus Emily's jewelry sale. Progress recognition. $53,000 paid. $307,000 remaining. Emily called about the transfer. Exhaustion evident. This is everything we have. I worked 60 hours last week. David's contribution? Construction job, $15 an hour when available. We might make $4,800 in good months. The mathematics were unforgiving, 5 years minimum at their current earning capacity. They finally understood the scope. Thursday morning brought Emily's final card. David's grandmother wants to help. She's offering her retirement savings. Absolutely not acceptable. But this debt is yours, not an 89-year-old woman's. I won't allow elderly exploitation. Focus on your own earning capacity. 6 days remaining. 6 days to find $307,000. The mathematics of consequence were unforgiving. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.